All right, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on today's session. We're going to be talking all about how to get ranked on the Google map in your service area for your most important keywords. This is a really important topic and something that I'm constantly studying, something that our team is constantly studying, because we know if we get ranked better in the Google map, we can generate more leads, we can generate more sales, we can get more momentum in our business. So just real quick, in the comments, give me a 1 if you're hyper-focused on getting ranked better organically in your service area. Just I can kind of get a sense of where you guys are at. I know Larry gave me a 1. Excellent. Charles gave me a 1. Fantastic. Let me share my screen here and we will get this show on the road. All right, you should be seeing my screen now. It says the Google Maps Playbook for plumbing, HVAC, home service contractors. I know you guys just gave me 1. So one more time, just give me a 1 so I can make sure that this is displaying correctly. Larry can see it. Okay, awesome. So the digital dominance method, this getting ranked on the Google map is part of the overall strategy you want to put in place to really maximize your lead flow and profitability via the internet. So foundationally, we want to have a good website that's built to convert, right? That's kind of phase 1. Phase 2 is we want to make sure we're ranking organically, which means we're ranking up in the non-paid listings and we're ranking on the Google map. And then we want to layer paid search on that and retargeting on that and everything else. But today, what we're talking about is kind of here in the SEO area with a hyper focus on Google Maps and how to get ranked in the Google map in your service area. So I'm going to ask for your attention, if you could, if you're with me live, if you happen to be watching this on Facebook, turn off your cell phone, close off your other tabs. Let's give this our undivided attention. I'm going to give you our latest and greatest ideas, strategies, techniques on Google Maps optimization and what you need to do to get ranked. So if you give this your undivided attention, I promise you're going to get more outcomes from the session. So here's what we're going to cover. Here's what I've got on the agenda. I kind of plan to unpack with you guys. I'm going to talk about the latest updates with the Google map. This is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. And so I'll kind of talk about some of those new changes. I'm going to talk about the 5 biggest issues that could be preventing you from ranking. What we found is some of the strategies that other agencies have used or other Google optimization people have taught worked a couple of years ago, but now they're actually preventing you from ranking as well as you could. So we'll talk about those big 5 issues and how to get around them. And then we'll kind of show you our proven model for getting ranked in the 3-pack, which is those top 3 listings on the Google map. We've now got about 172 plumbing, HVAC, or home service companies ranked for their most important service in their most important city across the country. And we generate tens of thousands of phone calls directly from Google Maps every single month. So this formula is based on real world experience working with companies just like yours. And we're going to share some of our top tools, the tools we like to use to systematize this and automate it so that you don't have to do all the heavy lifting. So if that sounds good, if this is kind of like what you came for today, just give me a 1 in the comments here just to kind of confirm, yes, this is what you want to hear. This is what you want to learn. Excellent. Fantastic. So who am I? Why should you listen? My name is Josh Nelson. I'm the founder of Plumbing and HVAC SEO. We are one of the top digital marketing agencies in the plumbing and HVAC space. I'm the author of How to Triple Your Sales by Getting Your Internet Marketing Right for Plumbing and HVAC Contractors. Very active in the industry. Active in PHCC, QSC, Nexstar, Service Roundtable. A lot of my content and articles have been published in the trade magazines. But I'd say really more important than any of that stuff is that at this point, I've now had the opportunity to work with hundreds of plumbing, HVAC, electrical, home service contractors in some of the most competitive markets across the country. Seen a lot of them go from where they weren't ranking at all to now where they're the dominant players in their market. Many of them getting hundreds of leads from the internet every single month. Several of them seeing over $1 million in revenue growth over the last couple of years. And so, what I'm going to be sharing and what I teach on these webinars is based on real world experience working with contractors just like you and actually getting the results and outcomes. And this is what we do. We're a digital marketing agency for plumbing, HVAC, home service companies. We're on a mission to help 1,000 plumbing and HVAC companies triple their sales by getting their internet marketing right. And so, if as we're going through this, you think there might be a need in your company, and you might think, I'd like to just have Josh and his team do this for me, get me ranked on the map, get me better results. We'd love to talk. You can, at any point, if you're too busy to sit through the whole session, you can go to plumberseo.net/schedule, and I'll just drop that in the comments here. plumberseo.net/schedule. See if I spell that right. PLUM. What's up, Andrew? Great to see you here. plumberseo.net/schedule. Pick a time, and we will do a complete review audit of what you've kind of got currently in place, show you where there's room for improvement, and we can have a chat about how we can help. So as we dive in, I think one of the first questions you should be asking yourself, and probably something you should be considering, is do the maps even matter, right? If the search engines are changing and Google's moving the organic results down, does anybody even click on the Google map anymore? Does it even matter? Should I be focused on it? And what we're finding, our latest statistics tell us more than 44% of people that go to Google and search for home services, specifically if they're looking for a plumber, they're looking for AC repair, they're looking for drain cleaning, more than 44% of the clicks and calls go to the Google map. So yes, we know that local service ads is at the top. Yes, we know there's paid results, and the map has moved down a little bit, but still the lion's share of the clicks and calls come directly through the Google map. So yes, absolutely the Google map matters, and I'm going to show you some exact examples with data to back that up. So you don't have to be like, okay, Josh says it's important because he read some study somewhere. I'm going to show you based on other plumbing, HVAC, home service companies that if you didn't rank on the Google map and you weren't paying attention to this, how much you could be leaving on the table. So one of the companies we work with is based in Orlando, Florida, Shamrock Plumbing. We go to Google and we type in Orlando Plumber, Orlando Plumbing, Orlando Plumbing Services. You'll see they kind of rotate somewhere in the top 3 results for most of those keywords. And I just want you to show you their report. They lean heavily towards the organic side of the equation and don't spend a lot on paid search. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but I want you to see the data here. So they spend with us about $3,000 per month for our management fees. That's the website management, updating the website, doing the SEO, doing the Google Maps optimization, putting the tools in place that we know have helped to move them to the top 3 and keep them in the top 3. You can see we track over 819 leads a month for them. And so if you divide that out, it comes out to about $3.73 per lead in plumbing and drain cleaning, which in a major market like Orlando is ridiculous. And it's really good. If you blend paid search with that, it obviously is going to bring that average cost per lead up. But what I want you to see is of those 819 leads, 405 of them came directly from the Google map, right? So that's people that searched and either clicked from their mobile phone right on the Google map listing, call Shamrock Plumbing, or they dialed that number, because we do track this. We can see how many came from organic, how many came from pay-per-click, and how many came from Google Maps. So there's one example, right? If you're like, hey, I don't know, man, nobody clicks on the map anymore, nobody is calling through the Google map. There's an example in Orlando, Florida, over 405 leads just from the map itself without putting anything else into the equation. Now, another company we work with is Nixco Plumbing, and they're full service plumbing, drain cleaning, water heater installation repair company based in Mason, Ohio. If you type any of the Mason plumber, Mason drain cleaning, Mason water heater installation repair, you'll see they come up in the 3-pack on maps almost every single time, usually in the number 1 spot. Sometimes it's and I've been tracking this over the years. So I want to show you, this was back a couple of years ago. This was back in 2019. We had spent about $2,749 in marketing services, generated 421 leads, average cost per lead of like $6.53. And you can see here from Google Maps directly, 183 leads generated, which is great. But you might wonder, like, is that number still valid? This is a couple of years ago. So fast forward to last year, that number's up to 196 directly from the Google map. Fast forward to just this last month, 352 leads directly from the Google map. So, while still being aggressive with creating content, building reviews, optimizing for Google Map 3-pack rankings, and I'll talk about that exact strategy here in a minute, they've been able to see their calls directly from the map increase from 140 or so to 300 plus on a monthly basis. So this is just answering that question. Is the Google map important? Does anybody still click this? Give me a one if it's helpful to see some of this data and kind of see the realities. This isn't, pie in the sky. This is legitimately looking at these clients, looking at the tracking and seeing the exact outcomes. So I'll do a couple more and then we'll get into it. So one of the companies we work with is Laney's. They're a plumbing, HVAC, drain cleaning company, actually some remodeling as well in Fargo, North Dakota. And you can see anything in Fargo, you're going to type associated with plumbing, AC repair, et cetera. They come up in the maps extremely strong. So again, going back 2019, they had over 835 leads tracked on a monthly basis through the Google map, which is pretty impressive. I go, you know what? That's a lot of leads from the Google map. Now let's fast forward a year, 1,408 leads per month directly from the Google map. Now our most recent report, just as of this last month, 1,640 leads. This is like phone calls directly from the Google map. So there are people searching on Google. There are people skipping right past local service ads, skipping right past the paid listings and going straight to the Google map. So, if anything, I want you to take away from this session, there are leads and calls to be had by making sure you're coming up in the map listings in your service area. Give me a yes in the comments if that is clear, if I've kind of made my point here. So last example I'm going to show, this is a company we work with in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. It is Cardinal Heating and Air Conditioning. They do heating, air conditioning, and plumbing. And I just want to show you here. Last year, about $11,000 in spend, an average of 1,077 leads tracked per month, an average of $11.13 per lead across their entire internet marketing strategy, which is really good and really scalable in a market like that. But what I want you to see is, despite all of the SEO and despite all of the paid search, still the winner in their market is Google Maps with 420 tracked leads. And as we continue to expand their service area on Google Maps and get ranked for more and more keywords, you'll see that while keeping the budget about the same, we were able to increase that as of our most recent report to 1,375 tracked calls per month, 300 from organic, 181 from PPC, and 762 from Google Maps for an average of $8.75 per lead. So the point here is, yes, Google Maps drive calls. So you can't rely on pay-per-click alone. You shouldn't do local service ads alone. So let's get into the how. Let's talk about how this actually works and what you need to do from your Google Maps optimization strategy to get ranked for the most important keywords in your service area in the map listings. So there's been some changes to the search results, or the SERPs as we call it. A couple of the big changes. Over the years, it used to be when you ran a search on Google, you would see 7 results on the map. I guess like 4 or 5 years ago, they switched that to just 3 on the map. And so that made getting ranked in the map more competitive, but it also meant that when you're one of the 3, you're going to get more percentage of the calls. That kind of plays out if you look at some of the examples I was showing you, right? They were ranked in the map. Now they expanded, they rank in more keywords, and there's less competition in the map listings. More leads, more sales via the map, which is wonderful. Google is placing paid ads in the map results. You might have noticed this, Google ads, you can play, not for all 3, but you can place an ad at the top of the results in your market. Google local service ads are available across the country. They show up at the very top. They're referred to as Google Guaranteed. There's a whole process and a whole step behind that. Give me a 1 if you're in local service ads. You kind of are playing that game. I think you should be. So bottom line, it went from this over here, like where we had some paid listings and then the 7-pack to now where we've got local service ads, usually 1 or 2 paid ads, and then the Google map with 3 listings on it. Real brief, like a couple of you guys have put in here a 1 in the comments that you are doing local service ads, which is great. So that's this Google guaranteed local service ads area at the top. There's only 3. You pay on a per lead basis. It rotates across. You want to know about this. You want to be participating in it, and you want to be optimizing it for it. So we'll be doing another session next month all around local service ads and how to win with local service ads in your market. The way this impacts the search results, like the changes that Google has rolled out, is we've got the local service ads at the top, then we've got our ads, then we've got our Google My Business or our Google profile listings, the Google Maps, and then we've got the organic listings below that. And what I'm going to encourage you to think about, and really what you want to do, is you want to try to be taking real estate in each of these areas, right? This is the bottom of the funnel where your customer has a problem and a need, and they're on Google, either on their mobile phone or on their desktop searching. Like, we want to be showing up in local service, we want to be showing up in paid, we want to be showing up on the map, and we want to be showing up organically and possibly showing up as our website and in the various directories like Angie's List and some of the other directories that are available. When you do that, you're going to have more top of mind awareness. You're going to improve your probability, not by 1x, but by 3x, that you're actually the company that they click and ultimately call and book the job with. So on local service ads, again, I'll do a separate session on this, but for local service ads, if you wanted to sign up for that, you can just go to adwords.google.com/local services /sign up. There's a background check process there. You set a budget, you set a service area, and you've got to play the game. And there's very specific things that you can do to optimize your profile, to optimize your budget, and really to optimize your potential for showing up in the 3. Tune in next month or reach out to us for a 1-to-1 if you'd like to learn some of those strategies. So again, really what we want to do with our overall strategy is we want to make sure that we're optimizing to show up as often as possible. So here's an example. Here we are in the map, here we are in the organic, and then here we are down here in a couple of listings, right? You can have your Yelp listing be the one that shows up. You can have your website be the one that shows up. We want to show up a number of times on the first page for the keywords your customers are typing in when they need your services. So things that have changed, things that are hurting your ability to rank right now. Google has put an aggressive stance on eliminating fake listings. So listings that are to your aunt's house, to a fabricated office that doesn't really exist inside of another person's building. And what used to be really effective was to set up a bunch of bogus locations in all the little cities and towns, claim that on Google, get the PIN code, and play that game. I know some of you have done this. I know that there was a time where this was a common thing to do, but that may actually be one of the things that are hurting you in your rankings today. So top 5 things that could be actually preventing you from ranking that might have been working in the past. Number 1 is you actually need an office in the city you're trying to target. So if you're going after Miami and you want to show up for Miami Plumber, Miami Plumbing, Miami Drain Cleaning in the 3-pack on the map, you don't want an office in Doral or Pinecrest or one of the surrounding towns. That's going to make it very hard to rank. Very rarely do you see a surrounding city actually ranking on the Google map. What you need is a true location, like a commercial office that you can validate and confirm with lots of citations, right? You could do all of the best optimization in the world, but if you don't have a location in the city that you're trying to rank in, you're going to be playing an uphill battle. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, did you at some point in your history or your company's history spam with fake locations? So if you had another provider or you personally went out and set up Aunt Linda's house and set up your own house and got a UPS store, and you had one fake location in all these cities and all these towns, and they still exist on Google, your real location that you're trying to rank for is probably going to be penalized or brought back. So something to think about. If you're really struggling to rank in the Google map, you want to check to see, like, are there fabricated listings, and get those listings removed, get them consolidated, get them cleaned up.
Someone's at the front door.
The other thing that could be hurting you would be inconsistency of your name, address, phone number profile. I'm going to talk a little bit about this. This is called your NAP. If you don't have consistency with how your company's name is listed, the address that you're using with little differences, like Southwest spelled out instead of SW, or you're using different phone numbers in different places, this can cause inconsistency, which can hurt your ability to rank in the map. And then, if you're spamming the like your keywords in your name on Google, there's some data saying this can work, but it also is against terms of services, something you want to pay very close attention to. And then number 5 is not having enough reviews, right? If you don't have reviews on Google, and more than the competition, you don't have reviews on Angie's List and Yelp and all of the different public profiles, you're going to struggle, right? So you have to get real reviews from your real customers in your real service area. So these are the 5 things you want to check out. Make sure you get a location. You could get away with a home office, but it has to be a real location in the real city that you're trying to serve. Eliminate the spam listings that you might have. Go up and find inconsistency of your name, address, phone number. Consolidate your listing on Google profile to be your actual company name as it legally sits, right? And then make sure you get online reviews. So these are the key things that could negatively be impacting your rankings. What I want to do now is unpack our formula for getting ranked in the 3-pack. And it's kind of simple, but there's a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of diligence that goes into implementing this and making it happen in the real world. So the first thing you want to do is claim your Google profile, right? You do that by going to google.com/business. And if you haven't claimed it, most of you probably have or have had somebody that claimed it for you. You want to claim it and you want to optimize it. And I'll talk about some specific things you can do to optimize your profile. But that's the first thing, right? You have to have a claimed and verified Google profile account. Second thing is you want lots of web references of your company's name, address, phone number across the internet. So there are thousands of directory sites online. And, I mentioned a couple of them, Angie's List and City Search and Best of the Web and eLocal Plumber and Home Advisor, etc. What you want is to be listed on Google My Business or Google Profile, and you want to have a lot of web references, or a lot of citations that reference your exact company name, address, phone number with consistency. So the second thing is we want to make sure we've got lots of consistent citations for your business. Number 2 is we need to make sure that we have lots of reviews. And to do that, there's 2 things I'm going to recommend. Number 1 is have a process where you're requesting reviews after every service call, sending an email, giving them the direct link to write a review for you on Google. If you do this right, you can make it very simple for your customers to post a review. You can get lots and lots of reviews. All things equal, the company with the right address in the right city with the best citations and the most reviews is going to have the advantage, right? You're going to usually see the company with the most reviews in the 3-pack showing up at the top. So this is a major ranking factor on maps. And then the third is we want to optimize the website itself. So the content on the homepage, the service pages, the city pages, the use of micro format data, the embedding of your Google map correctly into the site. Lots of things you can do on the site itself to put yourself in a prominent place to rank in the map listings. So I'm going to unpack this as we go, but at the most basic level, we want to claim our profile. We want to get lots of references to our company's name, address, and phone number. We want to get lots of reviews. So I said there's 2 ways to get reviews. The first is to have a system where we request reviews after every service call. The second would be to do a database request, like take all of your past customers, all of your past friends, your sphere of influence, and send a message. Hey, you know what? We're looking to build up our online authority. We'd love to get your feedback. Can you take a couple minutes to write us a review on Google? right? Oftentimes that gets overlooked, but it's a simple thing you could do to push an extra 10 or 15 reviews right out of the gates to give yourself a little bit of a jump in terms of how you're going to rank on Google Maps. And then we want to make sure we optimize the website itself. Give me one in the comments if you're tracking along, right? I want to keep this, actionable. I want to keep it, manageable, but without getting too technical. All right, so we got a couple ones. Thank you, guys. So as it relates to optimizing your Google profile, and I always say Google My Business because it was Google My Business for a long time. And then about a year ago, they changed it from Google My Business to Google Business Profile Manager. So what do we want to do? First of all, I want to make sure that you've got to log into your Google account. Whether you've hired us, you've hired a third party, or you've done this on your own, you want to know what the Google profile is. You want to make sure that you're the admin on that account so that you can get in, you can look at the settings, you can make sure there's no shenanigans. If you ever have to switch directions, that's the most powerful thing, maybe other than your domain, that you want to have access to. So as the business owner, I'm going to encourage you to get access to your Google Business Profile Manager. So that's the first thing. In there, I'm going to suggest update your company name to reflect your real company name. So if you're Bob's Plumbing, you want that to read Bob's Plumbing, not Bob's Plumbing Dallas, or whatever extra things you might want to add. There are some gray hat strategies around this. Gray hat meaning, it works, but it might not be associated with Google's best recommendations or their terms of service, where statistically speaking, if you look at it across the board, if you go into your company name and you add the city or you add the service, the keywords you want to come up for, you give yourself a little bit of a bump in how you rank. So as an example, if your company is Bob's Plumbing and you want to rank for Bob's Plumbing and Drain Cleaning in Dallas, Texas, if you added that to your name, theoretically, that's going to give you a little bit of an advantage because you're very keyword matched to what the prospects are typing in. I don't recommend doing it unless you go out and literally change your company name to match that, right? So Brian, good to have you on here. He says, what if you have it legally updated as a DBA? From what I understand, you can get away with that. I mean, it's a lot of hoops to jump through. If you're in a very competitive city and you're not getting where you need to go, maybe it's worth doing that. Choose your own battles, right? But that's something you could do. I recommend just having it be your company name. We don't have any problem with companies like Nixco and Laney's, which clearly don't have the keywords in there, still ranking extremely well. Yes, Chris says, looks tacky doing that. I agree, right? You also want to think about your brand. You want to think about your perception. So while you might get a little bit of a hit in terms of how you rank, I would suggest just keep your company name in there. Obviously, add your website address in there. Use a local number in Google Maps on your Google Map listings. Don't use an 800 number. You want it to be local to the city that you're in. So use the 305 number, use the 786 number, use the 954, use the actual local area code number in there. Shy away from a PO box or a UPS store. There was a time where you could get away with mailbox, et cetera, or a UPS store, virtual office. You definitely aren't getting away with a PO box in a UPS store right now. If you want to be on the fringe, and again, I'm very much on the white hat side of the equation, so I don't like to be on the fringe. But if you wanted to be on the fringe, you might find a virtual office that has a unique suite number that isn't Regus. Right? So Regus is the biggest one that everybody knows. Google has all of that indexed and can easily see, yeah, you set up a Regus office. That's not legit. If you find like a virtual office that's by somebody just rented an entire building and subdivided it, and they can get you a unique suite number where you can receive the mail, you can get a PIN code, and you can build your citations, you could do that. Best practice would be get a real commercial office in the city that you want to rank, make it as small as it needs to be, invest a couple $1,000 there. That's going to be your best foundation to build from. While you might get away with a fake address, while you might get away with a virtual office, eventually that's probably going to get caught and it's going to get filtered out of the results. And so you would have spent a lot of time and energy for nothing at some point down the road. So be a real commercial office in the real place where you want to rank and do it the right way. Once you've got those fundamentals in place, we want to upload as many photos as possible. And I like to think about the photos that you put on your Google profile to be similar to what you would want to put on your website. So you can put your logo, but really people want to do business with other people. So use real imagery. Use pictures of your team, pictures of you as the owner, pictures of your trucks, pictures of like your technician at the home, pictures of the authentic experience that your customer is going to have. Not stock images, but real nice imagery. I was reading a report that actually using cell phone-based images, as strange as that is, carries a little bit more weight than highly processed and highly edited images. So get your logo on there, get some pictures, the main pictures that you use, and then get some pictures of your technicians out in the field on a phone. Get some pictures of your guys. For a little bit of a bonus in the way that you upload your images, geotag them to your city and include the metadata that has your keywords in it. So instead of calling it like image1.jpg, call it Bob's Plumbing, full service plumbing, Dallas, right? Or like get your keywords in the naming, the metadata. So as you upload it, you can put some metadata behind it. That passes more context to that image, which is in your Google My Business profile, which ultimately can help with the proximity where you rank. And then we want to list our hours of operation and our services offered. I'm just going to show you, like, once you log in, right, you've got an area right here where you can upload your photos. Upload it. Look at your profile and make sure that it lists itself as verified. As many photos as you can, right? Just, I don't really think you can go wrong adding too many photos in there. You've got some great data that you can look at in terms of history and how many people have clicked on you and how many people have used it to get, driving instructions to get to your office. The other thing you want to do, and I want to call your attention to a couple of things. Don't just set it and forget it with your Google profile. Yes, upload photos in a first batch, but add new ones on a consistent basis. Things happening in the business, new jobs, updates to the showroom, that type of stuff, update it. The other thing you want to do is you want to be doing Google posts. There's an opportunity to post right from Google My Business or Google Profile, updates, special offers, incentives. Once you post on Google Posts, it lasts 90 days. I recommend trying to get a Google post up at least once a month, if not on a weekly basis. So post to that and then be strategic, right? Get your keywords in the posts, get an image in there with geo-modified data in it. That's all going to pass more relevancy and context to your listing. In addition to getting reviews, and we'll talk more about how to get reviews, respond to your reviews, right? So as people post a review about you, hey, Larry was amazing and his technician was super friendly, came out on time. As a courtesy, it's going to help from a conversion perspective to say, hey, thanks so much for taking the time to post a review. We appreciate your business. From a ranking perspective, and I can't validate 100%, but if you can include some keywords in your response, hey, it was a pleasure to install that new water heater for you down in the Dallas area, right? Include that in your response without sounding robotic. You can get more context going, something I would suggest. And then answer questions that get posted. A little ninja hack here, in addition to answering questions, because how often is someone actually going to your Google My Business profile and asking a question for your plumbing, HVAC, electrical company? Not that often. Would be to seed some questions. Seed some questions and have the keywords that you want answered and answer those questions directly on your own Google profile. Obviously, you're going to get more context doing it that way. So just some best practices on Google profile, what to do, how to optimize it. So that's the first thing. Second thing is we want to build up citations, right? References to our company's name, address, and phone number across the web. Key things are anchor in what your address is, how you're going to list your company name, and what phone number you're going to use. And then go out and get yourself added to as many profiles and as many online listings as possible. I think I'm going to be sharing some great citation resources with you guys, but think national, like Angie's List and eLocal Plumber and things like that. Think industry specific, like the the plumbing directory, the HVAC directory, the trade association directories, things like that specific to your industry. And then also think local. So in your market, there's going to be, like in Miami, there's like the Miami business directory and the Miami home service directory, right? Find the national, find the industry specific, and find the local specific listings that you can get yourself added to. The more the merrier in terms of getting yourself in there, because every reference to your name, address, phone number is going to pass a little bit of a vote for the legitimacy of your business. And some of those pass links back to your website. Some of those embed, your Google Map listing in them. And so if you get more and more citations, that's going to help with your Google Map listings. You also want to look for like duplicate listings and incorrect business information. I find most companies, once they add themselves to a couple of the data aggregators and like one of the top tier directories, like citation management systems, they have plenty of citations. But what often happens is incorrect and duplicate listings start to spawn. A duplicate Google Map listing, which means you're coming up 2 or 3 times instead of just once. A duplicate YP.com listing, right, where you're coming up in a couple different places under a couple different names. That's not good, right? Especially your Google Map, you need to consolidate those. But a lot of times you'll get these duplicate listings with incorrect name, address, phone number, which is harming your ability to rank in the map listing. So we want to limit the duplicates, and we want to go and clean that up. I'm going to suggest look at the data aggregators. There's 4 main data aggregators: Factual, Axiom, Info USA, and Newstar. Basically, those 4 services push data to hundreds, if not thousands, of independent sites. So those sites leach information from Info USA to populate their directory. And so if you're not in all 4, you're probably not going to be in as many places as you could. But if you don't go in and control your data aggregator data easily, you might have Factual, Axiom, and Info Group right? And so those sites that they feed to all have right information for you. But Newstar, let's just say you never set that one up, and it's pushing invalid data, like some wrong name or some wrong address that's showing up in a lot of different places. So what we did for a long time is we would try and manually reverse engineer. Okay, let's find all the directories and let's go claim and add yourselves to them. Let's update them and consolidate. But it was still like bad information in the aggregator level. So I'm going to suggest, either you or your provider that you work with, make sure that they're getting you on those data aggregators with the right information. There's some great citation tools on the market. Bright Local being one of them, Whitespark being a great service. So citation providers would be tools that you can type in your company name, your company address, and it will look and say, okay, where are you? What are the relevant directories that you might want to be in, and help you find opportunities to fill in gaps. Advice Local, Moz Local, and Yext. Yext being the most famous and the most popular. Some people love Yext, some people hate Yext. The reality is Yext is the dominant provider. They've got the most APIs. They've got the best access. And the beautiful thing about Yext is you can go in and update in one place and have a lot of these directories, the most important ones, the tier 1 listings, updated quickly and concisely across the web. And so I'm a big fan of Yext and Bright Local to create secondary listings. And of course, you have to do manual citation research as well. None of these tools capture all of the national, local, and industry-specific sources. So if you're ever curious, I think if you're ever curious about how your citations look and kind of how you're being referenced across the internet, we have set up this link for you guys. You can come in here. It's a free report that you can run to analyze how your company looks with consistency. Anybody want to volunteer their site to have us look at it and do a quick check? Sometimes I get a guinea pig. Andrew, okay, give me the address and the phone number that you use. I'm sure if you want to put that. Actually, we'll come back to that. Andrew, sorry. Let's see. Here's what I want to ask you guys to do. This is free for everybody to hop in and do. Go to that page, put it in a report. This will help you get a sense of like where you might have some inconsistent data in your data that's being pushed across the web. So just something to look at, and that's plumberseo.net/scan. And it will give you a report that looks very similar to this, how many inconsistencies there are, which ones you need to fix. And of course, we'd be glad to fix. Andrew, I know you're one of our clients. This is something that we're working on for you diligently. And this report is for you, right? It's for you guys to go in and do that stuff. So that's the first thing, run the scan, right? Have yourself on all of these online directories, have the consistency of your name, address, phone number, and a couple of best practices as it relates to your citations. Number one, your Google profile. You want to claim that manually, right? Don't use Yext or BrightLocal or some third-party app. Claim that manually. Have a login, have admin access so that you can update it directly on there. Use a tool like Yext to push it out to the other top 50 or 100 directory listings. Make sure that you're listed in the major data aggregators, and then leverage a tool like BrightLocal, WhiteSpark, LoganX to find some of those tier 2, tier 3 niche directories, and do some manual searching on Google as well. If you do this on a consistent basis, you're going to have consistency, you're going to have more citations, and you're going to have better authority, which is absolutely going to help you in terms of how you rank in your market. And we do have a report for you guys that we put together, some of the top citations that you can tap into if you go to plumberseo.net/citations. That's plumberseo.net/citations. You'll get our list of the latest, manual citations you want to claim based on authority. Okay, so number one, we claimed and optimized our profile. Number two, we got a lot of consistency of our name, address, phone number with citation management. Number three is we want to drive lots of real reviews from our real customers in our true service area. All other things being equal, it's going to be the companies with the most reviews that win the day in their local market. So I'm going to encourage you to leverage tools to request a review after every service call. I'm a big fan of Nearby Now. Basically, technician checks in the field. They type in the customer's name, cell phone number, and email address, and a review request goes out. In the perfect world, you'd have a review request going out after every service call, thanking the customer, hey, thanks so much for your business. Would love it if you take a minute to post us a review, right? And take them to the profile that's going to be most powerful, right? If you've got lots of Google reviews and you need more, keep driving them to Google, right? One of the nice things about Nearby Now is it will recognize if that person's logged in on Google. And so if they're on Google already, on their mobile phone or their desktop, it's going to automatically send them to Google. So all they have to do is hit the review stars and type it in. If they're not, then you can choose, I want this to go to Yext or I want this to go somewhere else. I recommend having a review card printed, like a physical card that you could tell them, hey, thanks so much for your business. Hey, if you take a quick minute, you can write me a review by going to this page. That helps to plant the seed and train your technicians to do that. Train your technicians to say, hey, by the way, it's been an honor serving you. I hope you had a great experience. My job is rated based on the experience that I generate for our customers. And so you're going to get an email and a request to write a review. If you do that for me, it would really help me out. Kind of like the car dealers always do. I know every time I buy a car that sales guy is like, man, you're going to get this survey. I need you to write the survey. My kids, are going to go hungry if you don't do the survey. Like, don't be that aggressive with it, but train your technicians to plant that seed. One of our clients, Mark Norman from Shamrock Plumbing in Orlando, actually calls the customer after the service call, the happy calls, right? And says, hey, by the way, would you be willing to write a review? And then they say yes. And that's where most of us leave it. Okay, great. Hopefully they do it. We kind of sit there twiddling our thumbs, hope that customer writes a review. what he did to really blow up his reviews is he would get those customers on the phone and say, hey, oh, you would? Okay, great. Let me send you the link while you're on the phone. And okay, click here, click there, and like really holds their hand through that process. If you do that, you're going to get more reviews. Doesn't have to be you, could be somebody in the office, but those reviews will make you money. People look at reviews before they buy. Reviews drive your rankings. Rankings drive your lead flow. It's worth the investment that you make within the business. And then you want to build reviews and recognition into your company culture. I think Brian just mentioned here, can we incentivize or gamify the review process with the text? Absolutely. You want to be tracking this. You want to be like bringing it up in your team meetings. You want to be like giving them a spiff for their reviews or some type of, hey, whoever gets the most reviews this month gets a prize. Like there's some really cool things you can do to incentivize your guys and your team to think about creating a good experience, generate reviews, and then get them, get them excited about what they're going to get as a reward. I find the companies that do all of these things get the best results. Andrew's working on some stuff to get some reviews. Amazing. So my favorite tools for review automation, and there's a million. We've got Nearby Now, Review Buzz, Bird Eye, Customer Lobby, Pulsam, and the list goes on and on. What I'm going to suggest from an automation perspective, what can really amplify this is to have it be automatic. So whether you've got Service Titan or maybe House Call Pro, or if you're doing your books in QuickBooks, you can set up an automation so that once the job is complete in Service Titan or in QuickBooks, it triggers the review request through your system. And usually we can set this up through a Zap or through some type of API, but that way it's not you thinking, okay, I'm going to copy and paste this email out. It's not somebody on your team knowing they got to go in and push a button. It's like when the job closes, which happens every time you close a job, it triggers the review request. Our clients that put that automation in place are the ones that usually see the most acceleration in reviews. So there is a great integration for Service Titan where we can push the review request through Nearby Now. We can actually push the check-in and the review request with the text message, the email, and a couple of message follow-ups. That works extremely well. So leverage automation. Give me one if you're following along with me. So we talked about claiming and optimizing the profile. We talked about building up our citations, and now we've talked about reviews and some great strategies to amplify the amount of reviews that we have. The other thing I would suggest from a review management perspective is to once a quarter get a list of the customers, because not everybody writes a review, and send an email out, send a text message out. Hey, really appreciate your business. Would love it if you take a quick sec to write us a review. That way you can get a nice little bump of reviews on a consistent basis. So just something to think about there. Now, the fourth pillar and the fourth key thing to this strategy is your on-site optimization, right? There's certain things we want to do on the website itself to make sure that it's optimized and has the highest chance possible to rank in Google Maps. So obviously we want a good website with great content that's focused around user experience. So when somebody gets to the site, they're not just reading garbage text, but they're reading it in a way a human would. They're interacting, they're scrolling, they're clicking things. We want to leverage media, social media, multimedia wherever possible. So a video of you welcoming the person to the website, letting them know why somebody should choose you guys versus the competition. That doesn't have to be fancy. It could just be you on a webcam or you on your phone. Hey, my name is Andrew. I'm the owner of Platinum Plumbing. So excited to see you. We're a full service plumbing drain company serving this area. Video like that gives them the chance to know, like, and trust you before they have to do business with you. It's going to improve time on site. It's going to improve your rankings. You want pages for each of your services. So if we've got drain cleaning and water heaters and indoor air quality, we want a page for each of those. We want a page for each of the cities, especially the top 10 in our service area with unique content. We want to use Nearby Now so that those city pages are getting unique content added to them on a consistent basis as jobs are completed, as jobs are closed out. We found that works really well. Unique content on every page targeting a specific keyword in the title tag and the H1 tag, meta description that sells the click, So we're not just writing our keywords again and again. We're trying to write it in a way that somebody says, okay, that's the company I want to click. Right? Some specific things you can do on that front. Make sure that we have our name, address, phone number in the footer with the micro format data. We want to be blogging on a consistent basis and doing syndication, which means we're not just putting a blog up on our site. We're putting a blog up that gets syndicated out, which builds links, which builds ranking factors, which builds authority over time. We want to make sure that our site speed is on point, that our website loads quickly, both on desktop and mobile, which really can help you win the day. I'm trying to do real quick here on the on-site stuff because last month I did a session on the new SEO formula that goes depth on this. So if you want more details on the specifics on page and what you do with the content and what you do with the microformat data, go back and watch that training because I spell this out in depth. So a good example of this, like in the real world from an on-site optimization perspective, is Valley Plumbing. They're a plumbing company serving the greater Salt Lake City, Utah market. You can see here if we type in West Jordan Plumber, they're coming up here in local service ads. They're coming up on the map. They're coming up organically with a couple of listings, and then their directory listings also rank. So we're really in a dominant place in all things search. And so I just want you guys to see here, 10,000 in monthly spend, 460 tracked calls, 329 from Google Maps. 329 from organic, 93 from PPC, 36 from Google Maps. Average cost per lead of just $9.02 on the organic side of the equation. Another company we work with in Reno and Sparks, Nevada, Ira Hansen Plumbing. And you can see here, if we type in Sparks, Nevada Plumber, really strong in the map listings. Total spend of about $2,463, 214 leads directly from the Google Maps. So that's $3.84. I meant here to go, let's just go to Google, and I've got Sun Prairie Plumber up, which Cardinal AC. Let's pull up their website. And so just looking at the on-page factors here, phone number in the top right-hand corner, Cardinal Heating and Air, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. We got our keywords there in the title. Good, unique, reason from a user perspective for someone to scroll down and engage. We've got video and multimedia. And so like, this is what we want to do with our site, right? Pages for each of the services, pages for each of the cities inside the service area section. This tells Google what you are, where you serve, gives you all of the, like, kind of the foot forward stuff that you would want. Let's type in Sparks Plumber. There's Ira Hansen right there at the top. Same thing, right? Phone number in the top right-hand corner. Reno Plumbers, Sparks, is kind of the city that they're based in. Trusted Reno Plumber. And then we've got pages for each of the services, service area, pages for the main cities that they serve. We've got our name, address, phone number here in the footer. So this is a multi-location strategy, right? Coming up in Reno and Sparks in the map and organic listings. And so looking at them as the example here, 2,400 spend, 214 leads directly from the Google Maps, an average of $3.84. So bottom line, right? Our formula here is we're going to claim and optimize the Google profile. We're going to get lots of citations, references of our company's name, address, phone number across the internet. So we're consistent. We're going to have a strategy, get online reviews from our real customers in our true service area. We're going to do looking back or past customers, and we're going to try and use automation so that after every service call, review request, text message, and email goes out. And then we're going to make sure we optimize the on-page factors, right? We want to optimize by getting our name, address, phone number, by creating those city pages, creating those service pages, and making sure that the content is unique without or throughout, should I say. And so that is our formula for getting ranked on the Google map. I have a checklist for you guys. Anybody that wants the checklist can go to plumberseo.net/maps. Christian, if you want to drop that in, that is the Google Maps checklist. And then we've got one specifically for the SEO, which is the SEO checklist. Both of those will get you to great resources. So I try and keep this quick. I try and keep it actionable. I try and focus on the 80-20, the 20% of activities that drive 80% of the results. I hope you had some takeaways. What I want you to do kind of as we're wrapping up is just think in your own mind, what are your takeaways? Like, what do you need to do differently? Maybe with your citations, maybe with your on-page optimization, maybe with how you're getting reviews and getting reviews on a consistent basis, maybe with how you've claimed and validated your Google My Business listing. What are your takeaways? What are your action items? What are your next steps? And if you'd like help, if you'd like to talk with us about how we can help you do this in your business, get your on-page optimization right, get your Google Maps optimization right. We will run a keyword ranking report for you and show you exactly where you're coming up right now on Google and Yahoo and Bing. We will run a citation report to show you where there might be inconsistencies of your name, address, phone number, where you're missing listings where you need to be in, and completely complimentary. So if that sounds good, if you'd like to have us look at your current strategy, run a report for you, show you where there's room for improvement, you can either call us at 866-610-4647, or you can go to plumberseo.net/schedule. That's plumberseo.net/schedule. Pick a time that works for you. We'll run the analysis. We'll jump on a call and show you where there's room for improvement. And if it makes sense, we'll talk about how we can work together and kind of what we would charge. If it doesn't, that's fine too. So that's a wrap. Thank you guys so much for being on here. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and schedule your strategy session by going to plumberseo.net/schedule. And we will talk to you guys again soon. Thanks, everybody.